Welcome, and thanks for joining us for episode 8 of Code Girls on Air Season 2, a podcast exploring all things technology, female leadership, careers, education, and topics within the nonprofit sector. In this episode of Code Girls on Air, we interviewed Mady Rigg, Director of Development for the Glacier Institute. Join us to hear more about her story. So, welcome to Code Girls on Air, Miss Mady.
Thank you.
Go ahead and start just with your name and then what you do for your career.
Yeah, my name's Mady Rigg. Born and raised here in Kalispell, so a hometown girl. And I'm currently the Director of Development for the Glacier Institute.
For sure. Love that. Love a good hometown moment.
Oh, yeah.
So you're currently the Director of Development for the Glacier Institute, an organization rooted in outdoor education. Mm-hmm. What drew you to this mission, and what does development mean in your day-to-day work?
Yeah, great questions. So I actually first came in contact with Glacier Institute when I was in 5th grade. I was a student at St. Matt's, and we went on the classic, iconic, maybe you know, field trip to Big Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
That's right. Yeah, you strap on the waders and you get in the creek and you've got your nets out, and it's almost always like rainy or muddy. Oh, yeah, it's great though. So that was the first time I ran into the Glacier Institute, and I still remember all of those things. I remember going out on our discovery trail and learning about snowshoe hare winter adaptations and seeing the difference between a summer pelt and a winter pelt. And those little moments just like really stuck with me. I mean, really, there's tons and tons of awesome field trips that we got to do as kids here in the Flathead, but I always loved the Glacier Institute for that. And then when I was a couple years out of college graduation, I was working back in the Valley. I started doing the Leadership Flathead program through the Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of between a couple jobs. I think through the program, I ended up with 3 different jobs, which is, just the way life works sometimes. But I met the new executive director for Glacier Institute during the program, and his name's Anthony. And I just really liked the type of person that he was. I liked the type of leader he was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that Glacier Institute has an awesome person at the helm. Mm-hmm. And I, a couple months later, started looking for a job and found out he was looking to hire somebody in marketing. And so I ended up at the Glacier Institute.
Very
and
cool.
Now I get to make sure that other kids get to have the same experiences that I did. So you asked me what development means in my job, and really what it means is developing opportunities and relationships that allow us to achieve our mission. So looking for grants, looking for relationships with local businesses, with individuals who have capacity to give us money, and to ensure that other kids get the same opportunities that you and I did to go to Big Creek. Yeah, it's all about just making those connections and making sure that the organization is supported and developing our ability to achieve our mission.
For sure. What a full circle moment. Yeah, the Big Creek trip. I think it was 5th grade. I still go to Stillwater Christian actually.
Oh yeah, okay, awesome.
So yeah, definitely like a team bonding trip when you're in 5th grade with class. So.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, I know. I think some of like the favorite memories of pretty much everyone that's been out there is like the silly little pranks that you have with like the boys' cabin, and it was like our first Yeah, exactly. It was our first overnight trip, and I remember like, it's just like so classic middle school-y, but like everyone's like talking about their crushes, and it was kind of like the first time that like, oh, somebody is like holding hands.
Yes,
and like
it's just such like a girly coming of age moment.
Yes, it's so fun, and I think it's so important to show girls that you can like have so much fun and like be in the outdoors, get dirty, skip your shower for the week, not have to be wearing makeup. And that's still part of girlhood too.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah. So fundraising can be incredibly rewarding, but also full of challenges. And what's something that working at this nonprofit development that people don't really understand?
Yeah. That's such a good question. So fundraising, I think one of the things that people don't understand is that there's a lot of different ways that it happens. So, I think a lot of people might assume that the majority of my job is, meeting people and asking them directly, like, will you give us X amount of money? And that happens for sure. That's like a part of my job. But most of the time, I spend a lot of my time just like forming those relationships and getting to know what somebody's interested in. So I'll, take them out to coffee or lunch and hear their stories about the first time that they were in Glacier, or an impactful field trip or education thing. I talk to a lot of parents who are like chaperones at Big Creek.
Oh, very cool.
and just get to know who they are as a person, and then find opportunities for them to, in a way that feels meaningful to them, give back to an organization that they like, or a cause, or a trip that they really want to support. I think one of the other things that's a little misunderstood about fundraising is that it either is really, really hard, or like you can just find money like that. There's a tool in fundraising called grants. So they can either be from like the government or from like a private foundation. And there's kind of this like concept that you can just like apply for a grant and they'll just send you money, and that there's really not a lot of work to be done. But they're kind of like massive research documents in a lot of ways. You have to identify all of the reasons why the program that you're presenting to this foundation is going to solve the issue that they're trying to solve. There's a lot of reporting that you have to do. So I don't know. Fundraising is a really interesting job, and it's one that I'm still kind of new to. But it's just a great way to meet a lot of people, to help an organization out, and have those full circle moments that I really love.
Yeah, for sure. So you have held 2 very major titles, Miss Montana Teen USA and Miss Montana USA. And how did those experiences shape your confidence, communication, and even your career direction?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have been telling people for a long time that being Miss Montana Teen, I was Miss Montana Teen USA in 2014, so the year I graduated from high school. And it absolutely 100% changed my life. I think it's the reason that I have the confidence that I have now. It's the reason I felt like I could go out of state to school. It's the reason why I'm always willing to put myself out there for something that feels maybe like a little too ambitious, a little like, I don't know. Going through the process of competing, winning, going through the trials of like actually being a title holder. And it's like the first time that I had to ask people for money when I was a kid. It's the first time I really had to go and present myself in public and be a big public speaker. All of those things really, really shaped me. And so the next like 10 years of my life, I think, can really be traced back to like the decision to go out for that competition and ultimately being successful and winning. And it's just been like this crazy launch pad. And so to go back, 10 years after I won essentially and get Miss Montana USA in 2023, I'm just excited to see what's going to come from it. It was a fabulous opportunity, and it was just full of those like really, really awesome full circle moments where I get to go back to fundraisers that I was a part of in 2014 and make sure that those organizations are still thriving. And it was so cool to see like how big those programs have gotten. Great example is the Felicity's Princess Ball.
Oh, yes,
So when I was there in 2014, it was just like the first or second year, maybe third year that they had been running. And so it was like, it was awesome then.
Yes.
And it was so much fun. And now it's like huge. Like they have hundreds of kids there. It's just an incredible event. It's such a feat, and it's just so special to get to see those things. And so I got to go back to my elementary school and talk to those kids. I got to give a graduation speech, which is funny because in 2014 I missed my high school graduation.
Oh.
I went to Miss USA instead of going to graduation. And so I got to go and give a graduation speech, which felt like just a really cool full circle moment. And it was just really special. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely such a full circle moment, just going, again, kind of tying back to that career idea where everything just kind of, if it's meant for you, everything will just kind of keep happening.
Yeah.
So
I've always found, if I'm trusting the like little glimmers of desire that I find in my life that are like a little ambitious, a little bit of a stretch, I always find that it's a big reward. Like if I have a little inkling that I should try to do this thing and I go for it, it's even if I don't get exactly that, it's going to open the door to something really, really cool. So
for sure,
that's one of the things that I definitely learned in
for sure
those titles.
And pageants can kind of be misunderstood sometimes. And what have they really taught you about resilience, leadership, or being underestimated?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. They can really, really be understood. And honestly, a lot of it's kind of fair. Like some of the standards that pageants kind of hold us to, you know, there's kind of a certain body type that's on that stage. Generally, there's a certain level of expectation for how dressed up you're going to be, if you're going to be wearing makeup, what kind of clothes that you have on. I think a lot of those things are like really reasonable to be judging pageants on, because it's like, well, is that really what being a woman is?
It's a little vain.
It's a little vain. It's maybe a little outdated. But I also think like some of that's really fun.
Yeah.
Like I think that if you go into it with a clear head and know that the value that you have is not about your appearance, it's about really being willing to put yourself out there. That's where I've found the most value in pageants. Is it's an opportunity for all sorts of women from all sorts of backgrounds, who look all sorts of ways, to go and to put themselves out there, like quite literally, like walk on the stage and let everyone observe you, let the judges literally judge you.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts all of these things that I think are kind of happening to women and girls all the time in like a subdued or like in a subtle way, or in like kind of maybe even like a microaggression sort of way.
Yeah.
It really puts it to the forefront. And in my mind, it let me feel really in control of that, because I'm deciding how I look up there. I'm deciding what my outfit's going to be, what my answer is going to be. You know, there's all sorts of coaches who will give you advice on how you should answer your interview questions. But it was important to me to make the decision that if I'm going to do this, I want to represent myself the best way that I can. And so I never let anybody sway how I wanted to answer a question or detract from my values on tricky subjects. I mean, I think one of the really cool things about pageants that gets underestimated is it's a lot of really, really, really smart girls up there.
Yes.
And we study our butts off to be able to be successful when they're asking you anything. And I mean, I got questions about gun control. I got questions about, you know, all sorts of things. It's kind of notorious that you get like a really difficult political question when you're doing a pageant. And to be able to answer it in your values, but respectfully enough to be, you know, on the stage and understanding that there's a lot of nuance in these things, and it's really impossible to answer a question that difficult in 30 seconds.
For sure.
And you do it anyway with a smile on your face. I think those are really important skills and things that women are doing in life and in the workforce and in school all the time. There's so many expectations placed on us. There's so many ways that people try and dictate how we're supposed to show up. And for me, being in pageants is a way to kind of reclaim that and
100%,
take back your power and really be in control of that message.
For sure. And especially like even here at Code Girls, there's a reason a lot of our decor is pink, and a lot of our branding, especially for young girls, can be kind of like intentionally girly focused, like unicorns and all of that. And on one hand, people can look at that and see, well, we're just girls, we're just talking to little girls, so what else can we really do? But I think on a deeper level, it's showing that girls can do both. Girls can wear pink and also be super duper smart. And we can obviously we can do anything. We can do both of those things at the same time.
Exactly.
And it's not like those things are obviously not mutually exclusive by no means.
Absolutely. No, so. I think that is one of the really, really cool parts of Code Girls. I think you guys are nailing it. It's so fun to see a place where you can come and really express yourself in all sorts of ways. I get to be part of the coding fashion show.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was so funny.
It was so fun, but just to see like everyone's personalities and really, you know, everyone's like I know the like stage jitters so well.
Yes.
You can be walking at Miss USA and still feel those very much so. And so it's just fun to be like in the backstage room with the girls and you know, they're a little nervous, but really most of all they're just like wanting their coding to be correct.
They're
like
excited.
It's all of the above.
They're excited to show off what they've done, which is incredible.
Yes, I think that's one of the other things that I really love about pageants is like I think that there's a temptation to like kind of downplay your successes when you're a woman. I think there's like an expectation that we're like kind of humble or like modest or meek. And I think that those are really beautiful things. And if that's like what you want to be and that's who your personality is, great. But I also think there's a lot of room for us to show up like very unapologetically and just like be proud of who we are, be proud of what we like. If that's pink, if that's coding, if that's nature, if that's whatever. Great. Like that's all welcome here.
For sure.
Yeah.
So before stepping into nonprofit work, you were a marketing coordinator and later a manager. What did that chapter of your career teach you about how to tell a compelling story, whether that be for a brand or a candidate or a cause?
Yeah. Such a good question. So I studied communication with like a PR focus in college. And so really a lot of my traditional education background is in storytelling and is in forming those relationships. And so I think being a marketing manager, I was working at Logan Health at the time. And I was a marketing coordinator at Logan Health. And I learned so much about the message and how sometimes you'll be working on something that's like really complicated. Like, you know, I was in charge of our cancer service line. So breaking down the screening criteria for a specific cancer and getting that information out to the masses in like a post, in a poster, a flyer, or whatever. It can be really difficult to pare that information down. And so I think that I found and it's something that's still true today in my job as the development director for Glacier Institute is it's important to listen to those specialists. And it's also important to have somebody who's able to distill down the information that they have and make it something that is digestible for like the average person who maybe doesn't have a literal master's or isn't an actual medical doctor, you know? So I think everything's about storytelling. I think development is very much about storytelling. I think everything that I've done kind of just builds on each other. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and marketing and fundraising both kind of rely on persuasion, but they're not exactly the same. And how did your background in marketing prepare you for fundraising?
Yeah. I think you're right. It's similar persuasion on both ends. I think that my background in marketing helped me. I started at Glacier Institute as a marketing manager. And so it really helped me get an idea of who the Glacier Institute is for one specific audience. So for us, our programming, we have our youth programming at Big Creek. We have adult programming that we mostly focus on local people, but we also have a big section of our business that is geared towards tourism and getting people who maybe haven't been into the woods before, haven't been around bears, don't know how to handle not having cell service in Glacier National Park. We take those people and give them an awesome day where they're totally safe. They've got a really trained, a highly educated professional with them. They get like tons and tons of great information, but they really get to see the park through somebody who loves its eyes. And so that gave me a look into the business and just like the way that we're presenting ourselves publicly. And then it gave me the opportunity to know what we're up to really well. And then I can pull those stories and take them to a specific person or a specific business or a foundation or a grantor and be able to really talk about why it matters and the types of experiences that we're providing and the things that I hear from participants who are going on programs. You know, it all just kind of builds on each other. And now, my first time ever, I have my own employee that I supervise. So I actually supervise our new marketing manager. And so I spend a lot of time still talking about marketing, still thinking about marketing. A lot of those things are still things that are like on my plate day to day. Luckily, I have the on my team now, and they're just fantastic, and I couldn't be happier to have them. And so in some ways, marketing's still a lot of my job, but less and less every day.
For sure, And the team around you is so important.
Yeah.
And whether that be a one-person team or like a 500
Oh my gosh,
company, it's so important.
Absolutely.
For sure. So you've worked on a political campaign in a fundraising role. And what was that like? And how can you learn from that environment and apply it today, since politics can be kind of fast-paced and intense sometimes?
Yeah, for sure. I really liked being on a campaign team. I thought it was really cool to see a process that like impact so many people's lives up close. I definitely recommend to anyone, like, if there's something drawing you towards like checking out a campaign or checking out getting involved politically, go do it.
For sure.
Go see what's up. They always need people. There's lots of opportunities. I love that world. Big fan. I think, what did I learn? It's funny. It feels like a lot of the things that I've learned in a lot of my jobs it's about relationships. It's about having a strong leader that everyone wants to get behind, a strong leader who can present a vision that everyone wants to get behind, and putting in the work and the effort and the hours that it takes to be successful is something that, like, I think in politics really comes to light because you're doing it so often.
For sure.
I worked on a congressional campaign, so it's every 2 years they start up another giant process to raise millions of dollars and convince, hundreds of thousands of voters to vote for them. It's a huge process, and it really puts something that I think, businesses are doing all the time in just like a really condensed amount of time.
For sure.
And so it's very much like a hustle, a sprint. There's really cool people who do the work. It's really fun. It feels really rewarding, even if you don't end up being successful at the end.
For sure. I love that the same things, same life lessons just kind of keep popping up.
Yeah, that's something I've really found. That's one of my pieces of advice that I would impart to you girlies is that I don't know. It seems that if you have a lesson to be learned in your life, it's going to keep popping back up. It's going to show up everywhere.
There's a quote. It's kind of a Pinteresty quote, but it's the idea that if it's your calling, it will keep calling.
Absolutely.
And it will shout at you until you finally pay attention to it.
So true. So true.
For sure. Yeah. So you've worn a lot of hats. Hold on.
I know, it's a terrible word. It really is.
Yeah. So you've worn a lot of hats: title holder, fundraiser, marketer, now a nonprofit leader. How have you navigated people's expectations versus your own goals?
Yeah. I think that that's a really tricky one. I think that I've always had the idea that you should just be sharing your goals. I think that the universe, whoever's running this show above our heads, is actively kind of conspiring for you. That's my personal take on the matter.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think being able to like say, here's my goal to someone, whether you're like it's not going to happen in any amount of time, but that's something that I want to happen eventually. I think it's important to just like tell people. And so, but that's really come into conflict with me being like, okay, well, now these people think that I'm going to do this today.
For sure.
When I was Miss Montana USA, I told a lot of people that one of my goals is to run for office myself one day. And now everyone's emailing me and texting me and being like, so when are you going to do that? Like, are we going to see your name on a ballot anytime soon? And I'm like, simmer down. I think, one of the joys in life is forming relationships and having people who believe in you. And so every time somebody remembers that I said that one time or several times and they bring it back around, it reminds me that I have a lot of people who support me and who think highly of me, and that's really important to me. And I also trust that I know the timing of my life and I know when I'm going to be ready for something. And so I think I try and take people's expectations in the most positive way that I can, and know that ultimately I'm still running my show, and I get to make the decision, and I don't need to feel pressured by anyone. And nobody else can really know what it's like to walk in my shoes. So
For sure.
I get to set my destiny, and I get to pick which goal is next. And yeah.
For sure. And have you ever faced moments where you feel like you have to prove that credibility, especially in male-dominated rooms?
Yes, for sure. For sure. I think everyone has.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, like we said earlier, pageants are kind of misunderstood. And I think a lot of people make assumptions about me because of that being in my background. And I think that I think one of my like pure delights and pleasures in life is getting to surprise somebody and getting to see the reaction, especially when it's like a guy who's underestimating you. But I think it's so fun to be like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I know this thing. I'm happy to have this conversation. I'm happy to get into it with you. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to just smile and look pretty and wave. I can do that when I have to, but when the moment's right, I think proving people wrong is one of the like pure delights of being a woman in the world. I think that it's really fun.
For sure.
And I mean, really, I don't have any like terrible moments or anything, but there's always the not assuming that I'm a director or thinking that I'm just there to drop off lunch when I'm having a meeting with somebody. And in fact, I am the person you're meeting with. I think, all of those little moments happen. But I think a lot of the experiences that I've gone through, being a title holder, having these positions, moving up in the like career ladder of the world, just gives you a thicker skin. And every time it happens, you're just like, well,
next one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Moving on. No big deal.
For sure. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the pageant idea. And that is, you can there's no one way to be a woman. You can wear makeup and wear pretty dresses and also, go out in the woods and do like a through hike or something like that. There 100%. Is no nothing is ever truly mutually exclusive, ever.
Nope, never.
So,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's all about being resilient and knowing. The thing is, like, nobody can really know you. Like, we can let people in, let our closest friends in, we can let our next circle of friends in just a little bit less. And but realistically, like, nobody can know what it's fully like to be you. And I just try 100%. Not to take it like too seriously when somebody has a perception of me that's maybe not completely accurate, but I like to have the opportunity to show them wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when you think about the next generation of girls and young women watching your journey, what's one message that you hope that they can hear loud and clear?
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
There's so many reasons why you shouldn't do something. I mean, there's so many reasons why you maybe aren't in the perfect position to be trying this new big thing. But I think that there's a lot of reward for taking a leap of faith, putting in the work to be successful when you do, but just go for it. If you want to move out of state and go to a big school, great. If you want to, go to the community college and get a degree and be working on something else along the way, also great. If you don't want to go to school, also great. I mean, just do it. You know what the direction of your life is supposed to be. Trust yourself. I mean, that's really it. Trust yourself and trust that you know what's best for you. Take in good advice from people, but always know that your sense of intuition is gonna be the most accurate thing in your life. Nobody can know what it's like to be in your shoes. You know what's right for you. Trust that and just do it.
For sure. I 100% agree. I think especially now it's important just to live your life. Obviously it's the cliche, don't try to be anyone else.
Yeah.
But also that's incredibly real, especially now, with social media stuff, it's so easy to look and be,
oh my gosh.
I want to be like her. I want to be like her. I want to be as pretty as her. I want to do what she does.
Well, now it's even worse. It's not even just social media. It's not even just people editing their pictures. It's literally AI people out there. It's not good. It's not good. No, I completely agree. Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
It's very
live your
easy
life.
to want to be somebody. And honestly, one of my other pieces of advice would be like, if you have somebody who you look up to a lot, reach out to them. Like,
Yeah.
I am so flattered when somebody asks me to help them with something. Like, I love when I get a DM from a girl who's going to compete in a pageant and wants to get advice from me, or somebody who's interested in going to fundraising or going into marketing. I love to have those messages. I think that there's a lot of people who want to give back and want to be part of your journey. So if there's somebody that you admire, ask them for advice. Ask them to look over something for you. Ask them how this podcast is a great example. Ask them their story.
Sure,
get information from them. I think that there's so many big challenges in the world. There's so much going on. I think that we have to be willing to bring each other up. And I think that a lot of people are. Grow your network, meet the people who you consider your heroes, get to know them, and use their advice to help you. But you're going to find out that they're just people. That's the thing.
For sure,
like,
yeah.
They're just out here making it up too. And I mean, maybe they'll have lots of little nuggets of wisdom for you, and they'll maybe say something that really inspires you and really helps shape your direction. But they're just people.
100%.
And be willing to meet them and be friends with them, but don't be too intimidated to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one dream that you still haven't crossed off your list yet? And what would it mean to chase it?
Well, I do want to run for office. Yes. I really do. That's the really big one. I have lots of little small ones. Like I kind of want to start a podcast myself. I don't know what it would be, but I have little creative projects that sound really fun. But the big one that I'm chasing down is running for office. And I think chasing that will take really putting myself out of my comfort zone and be willing to put a lot of what I've just said into action, and be willing to be confident in myself and in my ability to be a good leader, to meet the people who have information, to be able to distill that information out, make good decisions for people, represent our community well, and be willing to take a lot of heat along the way. Be really willing to be underestimated. Be willing to, kind of get grilled on my background whenever, and not by nice girls who
just want the best for
you. Exactly. I think that like running for office is such a scary thing, and like the whole scheme of doing attack ads and everything. It's just like you're willing to put yourself out there, and I think I've got to grow a little bravery to jump into that. But it's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm always looking for opportunities that give me new insight, places where I can gain more skills that I think are going to be necessary. And, I'm hoping that eventually the time will feel right, and I'll just jump in and take that leap of faith. And
of course.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for being on Code Girls on Air today.
Oh my gosh, of course.
All of that was so beneficial. And for any listener who's out there, take the risk, live your life. That's all. That's, I think, the biggest word of advice we have coming out of this. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 8 of season 2 of Code Girls on Air. Next week, we will be talking with Cassandra Sunnell, founder and curator of TEDx Whitefish Mint. Join us on Friday, February 20th to hear more about her story. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your week.